Carlos Sainz Jr. has beaten Max Verstappen to pole position for the Mexico City Grand Prix, with Lando Norris qualifying in third and Charles Leclerc in fourth. Sainz was the strongest man by far on the day, putting his Ferrari firmly in first in both runs of Q3. Who were not even in Q3 were Oscar Piastri and Mexico's very own Sergio Perez, with both drivers shockingly stranding in Q1. Thanks for watching another GP Fans video. If you like what we do around here, please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or follow and rate us if you're listening on Spotify. That way you never miss a beat in the world of F1. McLaren dominated FP3 earlier on Saturday, but that pace was nowhere to be found come qualifying. It was all about Ferrari, who scored that 1-2 last week in the US, as Sainz and Leclerc set the pace throughout the session. Leclerc's decisive run in Q3 wasn't clean, but Sainz's was near perfect, putting the Spaniard on pole by over 2/10. Max Verstappen, who had barely done any running on Friday due to insisting engine problems, put his RB20 on the front row after getting his first time deleted for track limits. Lando Norris, who got 4 of the last 5 pole positions, will have to make do with third, while Leclerc will again start from fourth, as he did last week when he ended up winning the race. Pole sitter Sainz couldn't help but have mixed feelings after his 6th career pole position, as he feels he is leaving Ferrari right when the team are starting to look like championship contenders. Given how good the car is, how well I'm driving recently, I'm obviously optimistic going into my last 5 races. At the same time, it's bittersweet because it gives me a feeling Ferrari might be in the fight for the World Championship next year, and I will not be there to use it. I feel like I've been quite a big part of this team during the last 4 years, trying to prepare the team to fight for that championship next year. The fact that I'm driving well, being fast with the car, and I'm leaving in 5 races definitely leaves me a bit, I don't know how to say it, but not with a very good feeling. But it is what it is. I'm going to try and, as I've said, win more races, stand on the podium for as long as I can during these 5 races, and enjoy that. And then we will think about next year. Verstappen and Norris will not have a teammate near them to help on Sunday, at least not at the start, as Oscar Piastri and Sergio Perez qualified in 17th and 18th, respectively. Piastri started Q1 on the mediums, then had his first time on the softs deleted, and made a big mistake into turn 12 in his final run, costing him and McLaren very dearly. But of course, all eyes were on Sergio Perez at his home race. The Mexican couldn't give his compatriots in the stands much to cheer about, however, underperforming once more as his struggling form continues. I've been struggling quite a bit with braking. Every time I try to brake and attack the braking, I just put too much energy through the tires, and that makes it very tricky for me to stop the car. The last 3 races, I cannot stop the car. I just slide too much. Given that it's all surface sensitivity here, it makes it a lot harder. It's going to be harder in the race because it's also present there in the long runs. I will try everything. It's obviously very disappointing. If there's a Grand Prix I want to do really well, it's this one. Unfortunately, it's been really difficult and tricky, this event. A piece of news coming out of Mexico on Friday nights was that the FIA will revise its drivers' racing guidelines following the Max Verstappen-Lando Norris battles at the United States Grand Prix. The FIA threw out McLaren's appeal to Norris' 5-second penalty for the lap 52 coming together between the championship contenders, but has accepted to change its current racing guidelines in collaboration with the GPDA, the Grand Prix Drivers Association. The FIA met with all F1 drivers in Mexico on Friday after FP2 as always, but this time the governing body accepted that changes will have to be made in the wording of the guidelines, as there is currently a sentiment that defending cars can exploit the guidelines to stitch up attacking cars with penalties. According to the reporting of motorsport.com, the FIA will come back to the drivers with suggested revisions at the Qatar Grand Prix, which is in about a month's time. There was a general commitment to continue to update the driving standards guidelines. Bearing in mind, the drivers requested the drivers' racing guidelines and agreed to their introduction along with the GPDA. Each time they are updated, it is consultation with the drivers. It is generally accepted that they should continue to evolve, not because of isolated incidents such as Austin, but driven by the desire to bring consistency to determinations and decisions from the stewards. Finally, let's return to the present and tonight's Mexico City Grand Prix and tell you everything you need to know before lights out. Unsurprisingly, no rain is expected today at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, with temperatures in the low 20s. The formation lap for the Mexico City Grand Prix starts at 2 p.m. sharp local time, or 8 p.m. if you're watching from the UK, and 9 p.m. from the European continent. There are no grid penalties at time of recording, so Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen will start from the front row, with Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc behind them, and an all-Mercedes third row. Leclerc started last week from fourth as well, with exactly the same 3 drivers ahead of him, and ended up winning the race. Piastri and Perez will have to do some serious overtaking as they start 17th and 18th respectively. Well, that's it for another GP Fans video. So who do you have for tonight's race? Will it be another Ferrari win, or can Verstappen or Norris get back on the top step of the podium? Put your predictions down below in the comments, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning with another video.